Hey everyone, it's Annette with ASCardDesign. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to demonstrate a technique called the Blackout Technique, and I'm going to be using one of these embossing folders to show you that. So these folders I picked up from Mark's, and they are from Recollections, and they're just regular embossing folders. They're not 3D, and I find I have better results with this technique if I'm not using a 3D folder. We're going to go ahead and use this one. I thought this might be kind of fun. So the first thing we want to do is emboss that on a piece of cardstock. So let me bring in my big shot, and we'll put that in the camera view. And let me grab a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, and we are just going to run this through the embossing machine. And it really doesn't matter which side you use. There is always a raised side and a debossed side to these embossing folders. But for this technique, we just need to emboss the panel, and then we're going to ink up the debossed side. So we'll just flip it to that side and make sure we are inking the right side. And so you'll just need to figure out a sandwich that works best for your particular machine. I had to add some shims. I have a piece of cardstock here, I have a metal shim, and then under here I just have some packaging material, just anything I could find, just to make the pressure a little greater as the folder is going through the machine, because we want a really good embossed image. So we'll just run that through. Okay, and then what you are left with is a panel that has one side that is raised. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to capture that on camera right now. So we have a raised side, and then if you flip it, you're going to have a debossed side. So the image is recessed into the cardstock, and this is the side we are going to ink up. So let's get this out of the way because we're done with that. And then I want to bring in just a piece of copy paper. I am going to tape that down just so it doesn't move. You don't have to do that, but for me it's just easier. And I apologize, probably not the best color to choose to demonstrate. So, but I think you'll be able to see what I'm doing. And I'm going to pull in my ink stand and then some inks. We're going to be using different colors, all from GinaK. And we're going to be using these colors for the flowers in probably not that order, maybe this order. We'll go like that. And then I'm going to use this color, grass green is the name of this color. We'll use that for the greenery. Again, I always put the descriptions of the supplies I use in the description below, so be sure to check that out if you are curious. And I'm also going to use these very small blending brushes. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and since this design has such small detail or fine detail, I want to use a smaller blending brush instead of my larger brushes, because I want to just get the ink pretty much in that particular area. So let's start with this pink carnation, or it's actually medium carnation. A pink color called medium carnation, and I will just grab let's put these over here, the pink blending brush, and I'm just going to probably select a flower type to just color pink. And if you can see, there's this tall spiky plant. I'm going to color that pink, so I'm going to lay some ink down, and you don't have to be perfect with this. The Blackout Technique is really fun because once we're done adding the color, we're going to swipe black ink all over this panel, and the raised part of the panel, which is just the flat white space, that's going to take the black ink, and anything outside the lines, any color outside the lines, will get covered up with black ink. At least that's my plan. I've seen other people do this technique. They make it look so easy. I've been practicing. I've had some fails. I think I was starting first with a 3D folder, and I found that that was a little more challenging with the black ink because the 3D folder has 3 levels of elevation, and it just wasn't getting where black needed to go. Black wasn't going everywhere, so I struggled. So I thought, well, maybe I need to use the regular embossing folder, and so I did, and that seemed to work a little bit better. Okay, so we have that medium carnation, and then let's go ahead and do the yellow, and this color is Wild Dandelion. Okay, and then for this, I think I'm gonna do, down here is a plant that's called yarrow, and I actually have some of this in my garden, and mine are yellow, and I know it comes in different colors, but mine are yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and color those yellow. There's really you know, no rhyme or reason. They don't have to be exactly as nature intended. You can make them whatever color you want. I missed a flower here, so I'm just going back with leftover ink. So there's the yellow. And then let's go ahead and bring in Tangerine Twist. Okay. And I think that is going to probably, I think I'll do these little, they kind of look like daisies. And just get some color down. You can add some like a more saturated color or a light color just to give it like a little bit of a variated look. Alright, so I think that's all for the orange because I want to add some of this medium lilac in. This is a pretty color. The newer inks from GinaK have the name on the top of the lid versus on the bottom. They also have them on the bottom. But it's kind of nice that they did that with that redesign. I really like that. You can also buy labels on her website that you can print, or actually they print them for you, but you can purchase those and attach them to your ink container. I don't have any of those, but you know, those would be nice to have. And I always I use a lot of GinaK products and Simon Says Stamp products, so I always have their website links in the description. And you can just, you know, click on that and just go visit their website and take a look. They have really nice products. I'm not affiliated with any of them, but I don't get anything if you order from them, but I do like to mention their websites because like I said, I use a lot of their products. Their products are really good. I like them, but you know, I go to my local store too. Sometimes it's just a matter of convenience, but if I'm ordering a supply that I know I use a lot, like adhesives or blending brushes, inks, you know, I will just go to their website. I'm not real fond about how these came out. We'll see what it looks like in the end. I'm trying to blend it out a little bit, but that was just my mistake, just going in and just like dropping the blending brush down. So you kind of want to start in a circle instead of going down. But I think it'll be fine. It will be fine. And then let's go in with the green, which is, oops, I didn't say, grass green. And I'm just going to drop some green on the stems. Just kind of wherever the stem is. It looks like a hot mess right now, but I promise this will all come together. And just lay the color down. And I think that's going to be good. All right. Now we are going to bring in some Simon Says Stamp VersaFine Clair Nocturne, and this is pigment ink. And I'm also going to use this little handmade tool. This is actually a piece of, it's actually an office supply file folder dividers, but they're plastic instead of paper. And I really don't use them, but I've had them in a box like just for years. And so I thought, how can I use this in my craft room? And normally when I'm using a lot of ink, I might take a Post-it just to lay it down and hold it with a Post-it between my fingers and the cardstock, just so my fingers don't get inky. But you know, you go through Post-its, but this I can clean and use over and over. So that's what I did. It's just a plastic file folder divider that I've cut down. You can cut them down to any size you want, and then it just wipes clean. If the ink is stubborn, I just spray it with rubbing alcohol and the ink comes right off. All right, so we are going to take the ink and go right to paper. And this is where it will get messy, but you just take your time and just swipe that ink pad. And I like to go one way and then another. And if some of your flowers get covered, it's okay. It's okay. It's hard when we want our projects to be perfect. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I have learned sometimes, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? The recipient will see this and not see the imperfections. I promise you, they will not see the imperfections. And even some of these spaces, I did not get much ink and they look white, but I'm gonna leave it. I like it. And I really think that this is a very dramatic look. I really love the Blackout Technique. So let me clean this up and then we're gonna cut this panel down and make a card. Okay, I've cut my panel down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and I have a matte layer that's already pre-cut, and that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to, I think I'll pop up this panel onto the matte layer. So let's add some foam tape, and this is just some, I got it also at Michael's, and it's, I believe, 1 inch, kind of a medium loft foam tape. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere it to the back of this panel. And we'll go ahead and do that. We'll just cut it. These scissors are also really nice. They're also from Simon Says Stamp, and they're Teflon coated, so adhesives don't stick. They're non-stick. Isn't that fun? So I use them to cut any kind of adhesive on my projects, because it gives a nice clean cut and you don't get your scissors all gummed up. So it's kind of nice. So just get your foam tape down. Make sure you cut it clean there. And then you want to press that down, give that a good press, and then you'll go ahead and remove the backers. So we'll go ahead and take all of that off. And I find that with the wide tape, sometimes the backers rip. You just have to make sure you get it all off. I sometimes thought slow was better, but that doesn't always work. So you just get all of that off. And then I always like to go in with glue. This foam tape is very sticky. Once you place it on your matte layer or your card base, if you're not using a matte layer, once it's stuck, you're pretty much stuck with wherever you have it. You're not gonna be able to move it around or get it centered if it's crooked. So I like to add the glue just to give me some wiggle room. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop that up on the matte layer. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and we will just drop it down. I think that looks good. Okay. And then I have a side folding note card, and again, the measurements will always be in the description. My card measurements pretty much make the same type of card, same size on each of my videos. Sometimes I shake it up and change it up and do a 5x7, but for the most part, these are USA2 side folding cards. But you know, if you had a design going landscape, you could move, position your card base that way. So you're not committed to the side fold. You can do a top fold, and then we will just lay that down. All right. And then I think I'm going to use, for my greeting, I'm going to probably do this birthday wishes, and this came from another GinaKDesigns stamp set called Blooming Butterfly, or Blooming Sunflower, and really love the font on these greetings. I use them quite a bit. Birthday wishes, grateful for you, and a lot of times I'll just make a bunch of sentiments, and then I will add foam squares to the back, and then I just take a piece of scrap. This is from a piece of mail that I got, and I'll just adhere it to that and just keep them on my desk, and you know, they're ready for whenever I need to use them. And then you just peel them off. It's really, really nice to have those ready to go. But all I did was stamped the greeting and die cut it out with just a rectangular die, and then I used some paper scraps and glued, I think, 2 layers on the back, just to add some dimension, and then the foam squares. All right, so we'll use our reverse tweezers here, and I'm just going to put that right smack in the middle. This is an easy card. Okay, and there you have a birthday card, just like that, with the Blackout Technique. So yeah, have fun with this. I hope you give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you've done this before, what's worked, what hasn't worked. You know, share your tips. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope you would subscribe. I'd love to have you come back. I put a video up every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's a scheduled video. And then I go live, I try to go live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And again, that time's Eastern. So until then, have a great week.